Right, welcome to another Behind the Vlog. It's the week of Off the Rails with their Trance Classics event. So we're now officially a year on, more or less, from last year's Trance Classics vlog. I think that was vlog 15, I think it was. And all I can safely say is a lot has happened in that year, especially if you've been watching these Behind the Vlogs and the VaderMonkey vlogs. It's all pretty much a start again. I hope you guys enjoyed the antimatter vlog, especially with the rave station. I'm going to be bringing that to Off the Rails. Hopefully, you know, we can continue with this and get more crowd participation with these vlogs as well. So, I mean, moving on from last week was quite a challenging week, or the last 2 weeks, if I'm completely honest, because obviously, as I've mentioned in my previous Behind the Vlog, that my Facebook was hacked and I've had to start again with everything. So what I've done in the meantime is, obviously with this new profile, I've launched a Facebook page group, titled VaderMonkey TV, ironically enough, for the promoters to promote their events, the DJs to promote their mixes associated with events, and obviously you guys as well, so that you have this hopefully reliable info point on top of the VaderMonkey events update vlogs. So there's quite a few things now involved, which I've started or I've created to continue what it is that I'm doing content wise. I'm still very humbled by the reaction. I mean, I don't think I'll probably ever shut up at this, because this is something that has really taken me back, how this has gained momentum. With these vlogs now, obviously I want to get the crowd more involved, obviously DJs, promoters involved if they wish to get involved, and then obviously, you know, just everything else that's part of it. So yeah, I'm quite looking forward to this Friday. This Friday is going to be a very busy, long day. It's going to be another long shift, so another sort of 7-8 o'clock start through till 5 o'clock in the morning. Well, the event finishes at 6, but I usually catch the last DJ as they start the set, and you know, so that everybody's involved or included on the vlog. Some exciting news, some sad news as well, which I'm going to go into more in this Behind the Vlog, because there's a lot of things that have come about, especially straight away at start this year, which doesn't really bode well for the scene as a whole. Something that I think we need to kind of all get our heads together and maybe help support a little bit better than we do. But yeah, I mean, 2025 shaping up to be quite an exciting year, and I'm really looking forward to whatever, you know, 25 brings, really. It's definitely a new take, a new direction, and quite a few things. Excuse me, I've got an itchy eye. And yeah, I'm hoping that you guys join me as part of the ride.
The next day.
Right, we're on a Friday. I've been busy trying to get this event's update done. I'm on my 3rd day with it now. There's been such a lot going on. A lot of it's really to do with planning for this weekend. I think I'm going to be pretty much doing this on my own tonight. This is the Friday of Off the Rails as well. So I've got a lot to try and get organised, just trying to charge some cameras up and making sure that there is enough battery on these cameras to catch the shots that I want. I'm going to be trying to do things a little different now. The main room is going to be an interesting one, because the main room has got like 3-hour sets pretty much and an hour and a half at the end. So most of my time will be flitting between the room 2 and the main room. I'm going to be trying to set it up somewhere for the rave station, where I'll be inviting people in to come and, you know, chat and, you know, give some feedback about the event and everything. And yeah, it's going to be pretty full on. Going to be quite a few hours of a little bit of running around and then a little bit of trying to get people organised if they want to get involved, because of, you know, I want to do things a little bit structured if I can. Also as well, at this event I'm going to be trying to sell VaderMonkey TV merch, and if you guys are up for doing that, that's fine. If you want something, just, you know, some threads for, you know, supporting the channel and whatever, I will be actively selling the products. Well, I'll have a tablet so I can be doing it directly, and yeah, you'll be able to pay for it there and then, and it will be shipped straight to you. So yeah, like I said, I'm just going to get on with the rest of this events update, get that sorted ready for Saturday, because that'll be the first of the month. Obviously we're going to be promoting a lot of events that will be on the VaderMonkey TV group page. If you're not already on it, get yourself on it if you want to be up to date with all the events in the UK, and also you find out which vlogs I'm going to be covering as well. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting, it's going to be a very long day. I'm already feeling tired because it's been a very long week already. And yeah, I'll see you all on the dance floor.
I never knew how quiet a room could be till we were lost for words. And how can a room feel so cold when you're next to me? Was it something I said that pushed you away? I never knew we could feel so far apart. Where did your heart go? Gone away. Where do we go from here? Are you looking for a way out? 'Cause I'm holding on to hope. Or is it hope for the hopeless? Where do we go from here? Tell me what's in your heart. 'Cause I'm holding on to hope. Or is it hope for the hopeless? Hope for the hopeless. Hope for the
Right, I'm outside Fez, just got here now. Much easier to get here than last time, because if you remember last time I got stuck in a bit of traffic. It's just a case of getting in, setting up, working out where my cameras are going to go, figure out the lay of the land, and then kind of figure out a plan of how I'm going to film the event. Obviously I'm on my own today. There's no Helen, so I'm completely on my own, so I've got a lot to do. Should be fun, adds to the challenge. Catch you in a minute. Right, let's look at that for a setup. You can see in the light, Gab's just taking the leads for me. This should be fun, we're just setting up, so yeah, all fun.
Next day.
Right, couple of things. Yesterday I didn't do the little brief thing before driving back. Finished last night. I just kind of jumped straight in the car and went home. It was a very long day. I've had some kip, and I've also today I got an email this morning competing in a 2.4 hour sim race. So that's what my Saturday evening is going to be. 2.4 hours of racing Daytona on Race Room. It will be broadcast live on Race Room's YouTube channel, as well as my Twitch channel, which is VaderMonkey TV, twitch.com VaderMonkey TV. So yeah, very interesting day. That was a send. Jesus, I caught myself off guard there. Hell. Well, that was one hell of a challenging race. Oh. Podium. 17th. Since when was 17th podium? Oh my word.
1 week later.
So here we are, a week later. It's taken me a week to get to this point with the behind the vlog. The reason being is I've been so incredibly busy, not just with editing the main vlog, but also as well with the record label and work commitments. 2025 is shaping up to be a very, very busy year. In terms of not only events and vlogs, but as well with the music and everything happening with the label. And as well, there's a few other little projects, little side interests that I am now undertaking as well. Is it really worth doing? Well, I'd like to think in the long term, yes. I'm hoping this is going to go really well in terms of these other projects. I can't reveal too much. There's a few things coming up with the car content, which I'm in the process of just organising and getting in place. And there's also, like, I've still got this album that I'm working on as well, which I do need to get my finger out and get my head down. So I think next week I'm mostly going to be busy with that. In this vlog, basically, I've included bits and pieces of pretty much what I've been doing. So, obviously, as I've alluded to in the main vlog, the Saturday, the day after Off the Rails, I received an email and I was invited to take part in just over a 2-hour sim race on Race Room. And I wasn't sure which server I was in. I later discovered I was like the 5th server out of 500 drivers. So I think there might have been about 10, 12, probably more. And yeah, it was quite a challenging evening, shall I say. If you want to watch how it unfolded, check out my Twitch channel at twitch.com VaderMonkey TV. Yeah, that was quite a challenging few hours. Needless to say, that was more challenging the fact that I was still jaded from the night before, because obviously it was a late finish and obviously I had things to do the Saturday. So I think I probably threw myself in at the deep end, threw myself under the bus maybe a little bit there. So yeah, that was fun. And then this week, like I've said, you know, it's been busy with the label. It's been busy trying to get the vlog done. Obviously, I do the vlogs edit the vlogs at the same time as me working my day job, so multitasking and concentrating on other things is a challenge, I'm not going to lie, but end of the day, you know, things you do to provide you guys great content. So where am I at with today? Well, today, obviously, this has now gone online, or this would have done by the time that, you know, I've edited it. And as well, yeah, I mean, I've got to work on projects and stuff like that for the album. So what am I talking about with regards to the rest of 2025? Well, I can kind of half give you a bit of an intel going into the summer. So what's going to be happening is in June, I'm going to be attending the Luminosity Festival. Now, whether I can get any content for the vlog, I'm going to check with a few people, because there is a bit of a policy at Luminosity in terms of filming. The reason being is because the event is being live streamed worldwide, and obviously, you know, certain people may not want to feature on bits of content for marketing or integrity reasons. So I've got to be careful about it, but I'm not one of those vloggers that will just show up with a camera and put it in your face. I'm one of those that will check with people first, and if they're happy for me to do so, I'll do so. What I want to do with that behind the vlog is basically share my experience as, you know, as somebody attending the festival. It'll only be for one day, because obviously I have other commitments as well. So I will be going over with a very well-known artist. I will tell you more details near the time. I don't really want to say too much about it. But I'll be going over and supporting a very close friend and DJ within the industry. Like I said, a well-renowned artist. And as well, kind of sharing the experience of what Luminosity, from my point of view, is about. All I can safely say, or well, all I will say is the organisers, the main guy, Bo, and the organisers of Luminosity have always put on a fantastic event every year. And you probably might have seen in previous Behind the Vlog content that, you know, I've been at home watching the festival from home, wishing I was there. And to be fair, if I didn't have as many commitments and things that I needed to do as well over that weekend, I probably, you know, would have saved up and spent the entire weekend there. But as it is, I'm going to spend the day there, and also probably take you with me for because we're going to be arriving the day before. Take you guys with me and share my experience of maybe just having a look around Amsterdam and stuff like that. So yeah, it's that Behind the Vlog's going to be coming up in June, and I'm quite looking forward to that. It's going to be a proper vloggy vlog, that one. Everything else before that, obviously, is going to be the constant event vlogs and stuff like that. The events updates have now gained a little bit more traction. I mean, it's not that they didn't already, but gained a bit more traction. The support has been brilliant. I've set up a Facebook group page as well, or group, for promoters to spam their events or share their events, either way you look at it. DJs to share their mixes associated with events, and then also some, like an info point, a reliable info point for you ravers as well, for you to see what's on when, and obviously you all have your own preferences, and hopefully those preferences are catered for. So yeah, it's a lot going on, and I'm going to be continuing this now for 25, as well as doing an album, as well as filming vlogs, and as well as running a business. So yeah, it's a million miles an hour.
The next day.
Okay, let's talk about a couple of things that have arisen recently. Firstly, is there has been quite a significant amount of venues that have been closing recently. Now, for various different reasons, obviously these venues have closed down. I'm going to cite one such example just to fill you on some information. Ultratech Dance Music UK and Global Awakening had booked to hire the Hideaway Bar in Retford, only to discover that the venue had issues regarding the license. Now, they were due to renew their license, but for whatever reason, that license has been refused. I don't know the full ins and outs of that, but what I am aware of is that venue normally hosts more sort of your underground dance events, private dance events and stuff like that. And the circumstances around it just kind of gives me the whiff of that local council not wanting events like that, purely because of obviously preconceived ideas that it revolves around the drug world or the whatever, so on and such forth. That's just the assumption I have with it. I could be completely wrong. It could be a completely unrelated matter, but the way it's been explained to the guys from Global Awakening and a few other people involved, it just gives me that distinct impression. So that's one example as to why some venues struggle. The other example is obviously the rising costs. Obviously, gas and electric has gone through the roof, and if you've got a venue open for maybe 8 to 12 hours, the costs can soon add up quite considerably. So that matter is a possible issue that somehow needs to be overcome as well, because it is affecting the more smaller events and smaller brands as a whole. Other matters, other factors as well could be the fact that either ownership has either changed or so for example, if a new owner wants to take that venue in a different direction and the more underground events are not deemed ideal or part of that plan, then the venue may stop such events, especially small to mid-tier events, from happening in those sort of venues. Also as well, the cost of hiring venues has gone up quite significantly. My rational explanation for that is, again, back to the point that I mentioned before with the cost, the rising costs. However, there are a few other little factors. Some, I believe, I've heard from some corners of the industry that some venues have just got greedy because they've noticed the business or the sort of business that comes in, and obviously the venue itself has thrived on that. And certain promoters can't afford those sort of overheads, or at least match those overheads to maintain the momentum for that brand or that event. So there are those factors, but the main factor really that we need to kind of figure out how to help or resolve in some way is the rising costs of venues, or venues closing down. It's been more venues closing down because of the aforementioned licensing and probably cost scenario. But I think there are other factors at play, because what I know locally around here is a lot of the smaller underground clubs in my local town have closed or are basically certain market orientated, is because councils are putting pressure on small venues to stop hosting underground non-commercial events. The reason for this is obviously there is more money to be made out of a commercial event because of the commercial aspect, but also as well there are factors such as maybe policing, maybe the fact that that area has maybe a known crime rate or whatever, and they're trying to tackle it, but obviously impacting other businesses in the process. And then there's also factors of basically stigma attached to the underground scene, which is quite difficult to really navigate. I can't speak for all venues. I could be talking absolute waffle here because I don't know every single area and I don't know every single area's criteria. But what I have known, or what I've learned over the past 25 years, and more so recently over the past 5, that there is this proactive sort of agenda against the smaller events. So those are what I've been able to deduce. Correct me if I'm wrong, because I do accept if I'm wrong about certain facts. But from what I've learned of the industry over time, that the points that I brought up are key sort of issues. So yeah, further to the points that I've made, it is alarming that these small sort of, shall we say, niche clubs are closing. It's not good for the industry. It's quite difficult to really navigate, how to get around it. But at the same time as well, it's a case of, in order to sustain a scene, it's not just the promoters, the DJs and the ravers, it's the venues. Without the facilities, we can't hold these events. We can't help a scene or a movement thrive. Point that a few people made to me recently as well is, since lockdown was lifted, every man and his dog's now a promoter and they're putting parties on. And to be fair, I understand the point, but, I think competition is quite healthy for a scene, because end of the day, it makes people want to go to these events. It makes people want to see, the next wave of talent coming into the industry as a whole. So I find it quite a healthy situation. However, obviously, let's say there's 2 small venues and we have 2 brand new promoters, and they're in the same town, and one event does better than the other. The people that lose out the most in that scenario is usually the promoter and the venue. There is the contentious argument of, but the DJs, what the DJs are there to be paid or whatever. If I'm completely honest, if you're in the lower realms, I'm not saying you don't deserve to be paid, because end of the day, I think experience is more valuable than payment. But if you are establishing yourself, then you've got to make it worth your while. So I understand that. So with promoters and that, obviously they have the outlay of their DJs and the venue and whatever promo and reprographics maybe they've paid for. But end of the day, they've not seen any of it back. And then you've got the venue that's paid for the gas, the electric, the bar staff, the stock, and maybe they've made about 10-15% of that back. That's always a poor do. There will be probably people watching this going, well, why did they bother in the first place? The industry is fickle. You go in with some idea, and if you have a very clear marketing idea and you're very clear of the crowd that you're going to pull in, then you shouldn't really be struggling. But there are people that just put nights together because either, there isn't that sort of night in their local area, or, it's kind of like a case of, well, I can't get a gig or I can't get involved with that, so I'm going to put my own on. And that does happen. And I'm sorry to call you guys out, but it does happen and it doesn't help, to be fair. I think, in order for this scene to work, egos need to be put to one side a little bit. And I think we need to be a bit more supportive, whether we've not had opportunities or whether been refused opportunities or not. End of the day, we're all in it, hopefully, for the love of the music rather than the glory. So, it's one of them, really. It's a contentious argument, but it's one of those. But yeah, with a lot of people putting on a lot of small events, some scenes have become a little bit saturated. But people like what they like, and people will spend the money that they will spend their money on. I mean, gone are the days where you could have a night, take £5 per head. I mean, you probably can maybe on a few, but it has to be a very generous venue that's willing to allow that. £5 on door. Now you're looking at about £15 to £20 a ticket. And on the door, probably more than that, because of the high costs that these venues have to pay out. And on top of that as well, they have, the music licenses, so PRS and PPLs and, stuff like that. And then you have, your promoters that, whatever you do to run a night, you want to make profit. I'm of the mentality and principles I have, the profit pays for the next night, basically. That's my mindset. So, and then there's people who are not bothered about the profit. They're quite happy to put on a free party for the sake of just keeping a scene alive. They're totally out of pocket every time. But obviously, if they're out of venues, you can't sustain the scene. So it's a very contentious area. It is something that has been quite common for a while. This past month, I believe, and I've heard there's been about 6 or 7 venues that have shut in 1 week, which normally I've heard like 1 or 2 every couple of months. Now this is one occasion where it's been quite extreme. I will imagine there's people commenting saying, well, what happened to the venues when lockdown happened? Surely they weren't sustainable. And to be fair, I believe we did lose quite a lot of venues then. But at the same time, we've got to all support each other. Competition to a degree is healthy, but I think maybe trying to outdo the other is not good. You could argue business is business, but at the end of the day, it's down to the individual promoter as where their ethics are at. And I can't answer that. I can't speak for them, and I refuse to. So you guys are going to have to take that opinion and take that thought on board and draw your own conclusion. So yeah, it's been a bit of a tough week this week with regards to venues, especially the news I've received this week. But I do feel we need to do more. How we do more, I don't know. I'm all ears for suggestions. But with what I'm doing, I'm hoping that we can create, grow the follower base, grow the interest, and maybe get more people to come to more underground events and maybe help sustain and support these smaller venues as well as the promoters, the DJs, and you guys. So, yeah, I needed to talk about it. I probably waffled on a little bit about it, but I feel it needed discussing. Please put your answers or maybe suggestions in the comments. Please maybe correct me on some points, correct me on some facts. If you're a venue owner, maybe explain, just give me a brief idea. You don't need to tell the whole world your full detail, but maybe give a brief description of maybe why some venues where you are, or maybe your venue, whatever, is struggling. I want people to react to this because I want to understand in order to maybe try and help how I can. And the scene's not exactly struggling, but it's not thriving like it did in the early 2000s to maybe, early to mid 2000s. It's not quite to that level yet. It's still very hit and miss. So, yeah. So all that's left to say is please like, comment, subscribe. The subscribe is especially important because, without you guys, tuning into these vlogs and the content that I make, the project seems a bit empty and a bit pointless. I appreciate that not everybody really wants to see the behind the scenes stuff. Hence why I, do the main vlogs on the main vlog channel, and I do this on the second channel, which is VaderMonkey TV. I appreciate that maybe people don't want to see, me showing up at events, talking about other things or whatever. But also I like to, talk about the things that matter about the scene. This gives me a bit more of a platform to talk about the scene as a whole, to talk about, you know, the DJs, record labels, events and stuff like that. So this Behind the Vlog has much more to it than the main vlog, but only if you're interested. Anyway, again, please like, comment, subscribe. The subscribe is especially important, and I will see you in the next one. Ciao, bien.